members is the adoption and consideration of the reports, as well as the adoption of the minutes. We can indicate to honorable members, I'm declaring the meeting opened. We can indicate to honorable members that we are still working on the program for the third quarter. And as soon as it is adopted, we'll then distribute the program to honorable members. Honorable members, you are all welcomed, and also our staff from the select committee, you are all welcomed. I'll just allow Loli to deal with apologies if there are any.
Good afternoon, honorable members. The apologies we have received so far are from Honorable Arnolds, Honorable Nabuskachne, and Honorable Klute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are the apologies. I'm checking. Honorable Nana.
Chair, would you also record Honorable Smithy's apology? He might join us late.
Okay, we'll do so. We'll do so, Honorable Nana. We can then request Eric and Loli just to highlight those two reports that we are considering. I think you can put them there on the screen quickly. Just go, because my understanding is that members have received these reports on time, and they have gone through them. We can then look at the areas that deals with recommendations. Eric, are you in?
Is it on the screen?
No, we don't see.
Yes, Chairperson, I'm here.
We only see we are opening the meeting in the Teams app. we don't see the report. Eric, you can be going through it while she's just the summary. Yeah, it is in now. Go to the recommendations. Yeah, just the recommendations.
The GIS.
These ones are observations. You can go to the recommendations.
And recommendations.
Okay. Eric, yeah, you can quickly take us through just observations and recommendations.
Yes, Chairperson. Thanks very much, Chairperson. Since this was a joint committee meeting with the portfolio committee, so the suggestion was that the report should not be different from the one that has been adopted by the PC. So in terms of the observations, I don't know if Chairperson I should go line by line, but it would be okay if I can do so.
Just do a high level.
Okay,
level. Yes.
Yes, Chairperson. The readjusted budget vote for GCIS was a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The reason for that is that the president recommended that out of the 500 billion relief fund, 130 billion supposed to come from internal sources, and 100 billion of that amount was supposed to come from departments and government institutions. And then the 30 billion is expected to come from provincial departments. So the Department of GCIS, actually, because it was a communication strategic institution with regard to COVID-19, they, instead of making any savings, they requested more amount, which is, if we went through the tables above, was 60 million. The purpose for that was actually to communicate to the nation about the impact of the COVID, safety measures, and to communicate how the disease is transmitted from person to person, and how the people should respect the regulation, the lockdown regulations. So with respect to that, Chairperson, some of the observation that the Joint Committee took into consideration was the fact that there were concerns that some of the messages that were communicated to the public were contradictory, or rather that the public seem not to have picked up what exactly they are supposed to do. And if we recall that the DG from GCIS said that it's difficult for members of the public to adhere to the new regulation because behavioral patterns are very difficult to change, that they will insist on communicating with the public in terms of behavior. And with respect to that, Loli? Sorry, Loli?
Eric, yes?
Okay, this is the GCIS one, or this is the communication one?
This one is communication.
Okay, Chairperson. Okay, let me. I thought this was the GCI because we first the committee first had the joint meeting with the GCIS. I see now this is sorry for that. This is the communication one. With regard to the communication one, let me speak to the recommendation and observations. The concern that were raised by the committee was that the Department of Communication has actually managed to save 111 million. There was a 33 million that was saved from consultants, that is goods and services. And then 78 million came from the money that was supposed to be utilized by USAF, which is the Universal Services Fund, which is responsible for the Broadcasting Digital Migration Project. The 78 million actually was designed for the voucher systems with regard to the set-top boxes. So that 78 million was saved, and together with the 33 million from goods and services, which are consultants, was then saved, and the department has managed to save 111 million from the initial budget that they were given in February early this year. So that money, which is the 111 million, will go to the 100 billion that is expected of all departments. So that is the main issue with regard to the readjusted budget of the Department of Communication and Digital Service. That, as for the department, they have managed to contribute to the 100 billion, 100 million. So, but the concern that were raised by the committee speak to the time frame with regard to the Broadcasting Digital Migration Project. We know that this project has been there for some time, and the deadlines have not been met. And now the deadline has been indicated that it will be in 2022, but already the department said they've managed to cover, in terms of the signal, about 5 provinces. And then there are 4 provinces still remaining. And members, they raised actually issues when these other 4 provinces will be covered. And then the department says that on phase 2, then they will cover the other provinces. And then with respect to the set-top boxes, members, they raised question about, since they are still stocked with the South African Post Office, whether there will be any value to that. The department did explain that they had challenges with regard to capacity, but now they have roped in Centec and they have also roped in USASA. So they have managed to augment their skills. And then once the lockdown restriction have been eased further, then they will be able to do the rollout. And then there was also concern around installers of the set-top boxes. And then the department did explain around that initially they actually hired people from Joburg or Gauteng to install these set-top boxes, for an example, in Free State, in Limpopo, but that caused problems because when there are faults or the signal is lost, now they have to call those people from Joburg. But now they have changed that. The people who will be installing the set-top boxes will be the locals. So they will provide training for the locals so that when the signal is lost, then they are able also to fix those problems. And there was also a concern that was raised by the committee about DSTV, the fact that during the lockdown, DSTV did not have live shows, and also not only live shows, but there were repeats in many of their programs. So the committee raised issues why DSTV did not reduce their price subscriptions, but then the department said all they can do is to give a policy direction, but they have no powers in terms of getting down into the market, how the prices are determined. That I think is an issue for the Competition Commission. If I go down, then there were concerns also raised about just a minute. About matriculants with regard to having access to ICT services. The Department of Communication said that they were actually involved in that process of providing data and also ensuring that the matriculants they have the data and also the network facilities. And one of the issues that was raised.
Excuse me, Eric.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
this the right slide that's showing?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I correct? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then the department also explained that because the committee raised issues about property owners having difficulties when an operator they use this rapid deployment infrastructure, because the department said in areas where there are problems with traffic in terms of data or voice, they need to build infrastructure in those areas. That is the network facilities or the towers. But then some of the towers were built in people's property or lands. So the issue was if they are intrusive, then the property owner may charge a fee. But if they are not intrusive, then there are no reason for the property owner to charge any fees. But the purpose from the side of the department was to ensure that there are no traffic congestion when people are communicating, especially during the time of the lockdown, and also to provide students and all the other stakeholders to have easy access to ICT services. So that issue was addressed by the department. And then it's just that the font is too small.
You can go.
Yes, Chairperson. Loli, go down with the slide.
To the recommendations, yes.
Yes, Chairperson, because I think I've covered most of the important things. Loli, go down with the recommendations. Okay, thank you. With regard to the recommendation, the committee recommended that the minister should ensure that with regard to the broadcasting digital migration process, there are time frames that are clear so that everybody, including the public, is aware when the switch off date will be. And then also that the project itself, which is the PTM, is accelerated and that the set-top boxes rollout is done within the time frame set by the department, which will make it clear to the committee or to Parliament. And then also with they made recommendation with regard to the installation of the set-top boxes, that it should be effective, and also if I'll call on the observation that it should be locals, and then so that people, when they've got problems with the signal, the locals are able to sort those out. And then the other recommendation is that with regard to the process, that governance and the implementation of the process must be effective, and that there must be mitigation set to ensure that the whole process is undertaken successfully. Also, there was a recommendation that the public must also have access to broadband services, which I think in the observation, the department also made it clear that with the rapid deployment of infrastructure, the intention was also to make sure that the public and all the various stakeholders do have access. Can you go down, Loli? And also there was a recommendation also that there should be a stakeholder engagement plan and the marketing strategy for the unsubsidized digital terrestrial television market, so that they understand what is going to happen with regard to the migration project, ensure that also the recipients pay their own television license. That is, the recipients of there will be those who indigent households that will be given the set-top boxes for free, but it should be people who pay their licenses. One of the qualification criteria is that they are paying their licenses so that they can get at least their set-top boxes. Also, the last recommendation was that the Department of Communications should encourage viewers to pay their licenses, that is their TV licenses. If the committee recalls that this has been a challenge especially for SAPC. That is the last one, Chairperson, unless there is anything that our members need to be clarified. Thank you. Thanks, Loli.
Thank you very much, Eric. We are presenting the report of the Department of Communication and Digital
Technologies
for consideration by the committee. We present to the committee.
Chairperson.
Honorable Mdisa.
No, after I went through the recommendation and the minutes. No, I think it is a true reflection what was acquired in that meeting. Therefore, I move for adoption.
Honorable Mdisa, move for adoption.
Before
Honorable,
that, Chairperson.
Yes.
I would want to bring something to the attention of the committee.
Okay.
And this relates to the issue that is contained in the recommendations. We may have missed it as a committee when we engaged with the department. But in hindsight, the issue of television licenses, for instance, in the recommendations, it says people must pay their TV licenses before they could be given set-top boxes. You have indigent people who are in arrears with their TV licenses. And you know, I do not know how best to handle it, because we will basically be saying, if you are indigent, you are in arrears, you can't pay for your TV license, therefore you cannot get a set-top box. Come the disconnection day, you will have no feed, basically. I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the committee. I do not know if my my conclusions are correct, and then what needs to be done if they're correct. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nana. I think we'll look into it because it might disadvantage the indigents that we want indeed to assist in this regard, because this is meant for indigent people, and we can't sideline them in the program that is meant to assist them. So I think they will work it out. Thank you very much, Honorable Nana, for that contribution. It has been moved with the amendments that we'll do on that area. And can we get any secondment?
Where is Mama Bibi? Where is Mama Bibi?
She's
now
here.
Yes,
Oh, Mama Bibi,
I like it. I like it. I show a Zul.
I'll send you soon. Yeah.
When he had, he was seconding me.
No. He was making a contribution on the report. Thank you very much.
Oh, I do.
We can move to the next report on the GCIS. Eric.
Lolly will fly to Chairperson so that I can go through it.
You can start because you had already started on that report. You just continue where you ended.
Yes, Chairperson, just a
While
minute.
it's flight, you'll be dealing with the observations and the recommendations.
Are members able to see it?
Not yet. You will be continuing while you are working on your technology there, Lolly.
Okay. Okay, Chairperson. While Lolly is still trying to fly it, let me go through what I can go to observation.
You can see it still.
We can see it, Lolly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, observations. Okay. Okay, thanks, Lolly. With regard to the GCIS, as I earlier explained, that the response was to the call by the president with respect to the 500 billion relief fund in response to the COVID pandemic. The Department of GCIS, simply because it is a government communication system, and then its mandate is to communicate government programs and projects to the public. So instead of saving, they indicated to National Treasury that they actually need more money so that they are able to communicate to the public the various effects of the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of the transmission, in terms of the restrictions and the regulations. So they indicated to National Treasury that they will need more money, and then Treasury responded by giving them 60 million. So the 60 million is in addition to the budget that they were given in February early this year. So with the 60 million, actually, it was ring-fenced so that they communicate, or they use that money with regard to advertising, with regard to securing space, billboards and everything else, so that they can communicate effectively with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. So that 60 million is in addition to the GCIS budget. So in terms of the observation, the committee, because this was a joint meeting, if I recall, Loli. This was a joint meeting with the portfolio committee. So if I may go to the observations. The committee observed that the 60 million, the joint committee observed that from the 60 million, based on what the GCIS explained, it looked like it has been well spent, because they did explain what they were doing with regard to community radio stations, in reaching out to provinces. They were also in taxi ranks, almost everywhere. So the committee observed that it looks like it's well spent, and that the department actually will need more. I mean, GCI will need more to make this effective, because one of the challenges from the side of GCIS was that even though they are making this communication to the public, it was difficult for the public to change their behavior, and that this required from their side to insist and to continue to do what they are doing up until at least the public adheres to the regulations, because members did raise issues around funerals where there were people more than 50 and stuff like that. But then this required that GCIS, they become even more effective, and they intensify their communication strategy. And the recommendation also, and the recommendation, can you go down, Loli, a little? Yes, thank you. Mostly the observations were were commending the GCIS for the job that they have done, and then but also that the GCIS said they will also adopt unconventional communication methods just to make sure that the message gets across, the use of loud hailers and the use of drones, which also this also requires that they will need more for, in addition to the 60 million. But also on the other hand, there was also an observation with regard to the vacancy of the Director General, as the committee will recall that Ms. Pumla Williams was an acting DG. And then
you can go to recommendations.
Yes, Chairperson. But there was also an observation that because the GCIS was also involved in communicating with regard to food parcels, and members of the committee did say that they should be branded, the food parcels, so that people do not make use of those food parcels for themselves. Loli, can you go to the recommendation, please? Okay, thank you. With regard to the recommendation, the Joint Committee recommended that to the Minister that the message from the Minister, rather from the Cabinet, should be exemplary in terms of adhering to the regulations and the lockdown. That is, among Cabinet members, if they went to details, that they must ensure that this happens and that everyone adheres to the regulations. And then there was also a recommendation that the appointment of senior staff and critical posts must be filled so that the GCIS can fulfill its mandate. Because if you don't have seniors who can take those decisions, it may hamper the mandate of GCIS, especially in this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then also one of the recommendations that the minister should continue to encourage provincial and local government to utilize community media structures so that they are able to put across the message in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. And there was also a recommendation Just a minute. Also, there was a recommendation that there must be an emphasis that rural communities also must have this access to this information, because some of the members raised concern that in the far-flung rural areas in some provinces, they haven't seen any of the activities of GCIS. But GCIS, they said that they are actually in those provinces, just that maybe they did not in the presentation capture those rural areas. And also, there was a concern with regard to the recommendation that the minister should also take into consideration the fact that the SAPC is also allowing GCIS to take their space, but from the side of the SAPC, this is an unfunded mandate, meaning the SAPC has not been given money to assist or to communicate, but then GCIS used the platform of the SAPC. SAPC should be also funded, because it's an unfunded mandate to cater for GCIS in some areas. I know that members, they said in the observation that SAPC should do more than the other television station, but it seems that SAPC actually was doing more. Can you go down slowly? Okay, oh, it's the last one. Oh yes, and the last recommendation was that from the joint committee was that GCIS should also engage traditional leaders so that they can effectively reach out to rural communities. They can reach out to. That was the last recommendation, Chairperson. Thanks, Loli. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Eric and Loli. That is the report that we present to the committee for consideration.
Chair.
Honorable Nana. Honorable Nana.
Mabato is on the line, Chair.
I can't hear.
Chairperson.
I
move for the adoption,
Chairperson.
Wait.
Okay.
Adoption, Chairperson.
Yeah, just before there is honorable.
We want to speak.
Honorable House, yes.
Chairperson, I've listened to the two reports, the deliberations on the two reports. I've got a great concern on how it's been presented, on how it's been done. When you pay closer attention to what is being said, it's one party-sided. It's like all of us were saying those things that the ANC were saying in a committee. It is not flaking anything that was in disagreement with what was presented by GCIS and communications. So I don't know. I might be wrong. Maybe I need to be clarified on how these reports are being done, on how these deliberations are being done. Are they not supposed to flag anything that is in disagreement with the majority party in a committee? Maybe I need to be clarified on that point first before I can continue. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Clarification, Honorable Mukause, is that whatever committee observes, we capture it in the observations in terms of the concerns. And as far as the report is concerned, if I can remember it well, that meeting of GCIS, I was in and out, but you raised the issue around the accessibility of GCIS in rural communities, and you gave example in the Northern Cape. And from where I see on the report, it is captured. It might not have been captured the way you put it, but I still remember you put it that GCIS is not visible in areas. You mentioned all the areas in different districts in the Northern Cape, but it has been captured there in the observation. But we can allow you, if there is any addition that you think needs to be taken into consideration, I'm allowing you to make that presentation.
Chairperson, I might not remember everything which I said in that meeting, but obviously when deliberations are being presented, what comes to mind is that point number 1 or 2 or 3. This point we disagreed strongly on this point. Maybe the capturing must take another angle. Even if you capture what the majority party said in that committee and deliberated on, but say there was a different view on this matter relating to what, because when you listen to the deliberation, it's like we all agreed. I'm the one who raised the issue of the food parcels, and I never said the food parcels must be branded. I said the ruling party is using the food parcels as a vehicle for epidemic. The reason why I'm raising this is because when these reports are presented, it's like we're all in one basket with the ruling party. We all belong to the ruling party, and this is what we say. Maybe we need to change the angle in which we do reports so that it reflects the disagreements of other parties, even if it's not point by point. But when you come to a conclusion, it needs to be flagged. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think we have noted that. Honorable Nana.
Thanks, Chairperson. I wanted to say first, I just can't help but to think, I'm really not a person who's a believer, but sometimes you just can't help but to think, as uNkulunkulu sometimes usibhekile serious. Can we imagine if this pandemic came on us and the Guptas were around? Damn, they would have chowed our money. So the issue, Chair, I wanted to raise, Eric, is on the observations, and Upumla did respond to this issue. The committee raised that during this period of COVID, our constituency offices, mostly if not all of them, are closed. And GCIS has a tendency of coming to your office, dump material. Sometimes you'll find it at your doorstep in your office because there was no one in the office without an explanation. And she said something to an effect that they will ensure that they speak to their provincial coordinators or something similar to that to ensure that it doesn't happen. They will make necessary arrangements with constituency officers to find somebody in the office when delivering material. I think the committee did raise something like that, Chair, and it's not in the observations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Eric, you'll capture two issues that I think we might have missed. One is that we must not politicize the distribution of food parcels, and the point that Honorable Nana is raising. Those two issues must be captured.
Yes, I've noted, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mdisa.
Chairperson?
Yes.
No, I've moved the adoption of the minutes now.
Or you were moving for the adoption with the amendments?
Amendment.
Yes.
Yes.
Honorable Mam Bibi.
I second Chairperson for the adoption of the report.
She second. Where is Seka with the amendments?
I wanted to object, Chair. I wanted to object. Last second, Mama Bibi.
Kodwa yini manje? Ngoba ngiyayiseka nama-objection.
Awuzweke.
Thank you very much.
Awuzweke.
Thank you very much, and thanks very much for making inputs to our reports, and we really appreciate your presence. We also need to indicate that we did not give the minutes on time to members, so we're not going to adopt them today, because in my view, members must receive documents on time, look at them, so that we give them an ample time to interact with those minutes. So the two reports are adopted, unless there is any other thing, Loli?
Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, I am not clear if the EFF is objecting to the report.
No. She made amendments to the issue of the distribution of food parcels, which we have captured.
Okay, Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Chairperson, it must be clear and noted that when coming to supporting any other report or budget, we don't support. So I raised those amendments knowing that you do note our objections at the Economic Freedom Fighters. Although we have raised it in that meeting, that said, we raised our issues there.
We note your objection. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, honorable members. Honorable Mdisi. Yes.
Ausmabatu is objecting, but he's adding. Why she is adding in the minutes, but she's objecting? Do we have to take her minutes? I mean, her concern that she raised, but also she is objecting our everything.
No, that's fine, Honorable Mudise. It was just the capturing on the issue. We must not even take it as an issue. She has got a right to contribute. She has got a right to contribute to the report. It does not mean that her objection must preclude her right to contribute to the to the report. Thank you very much,
Chairperson, for saving me from this new Gupta.
Thank you very much, honorable members, and we really want to appreciate your presence in this meeting. We're gonna make sure that we distribute the program for the third quarter as soon as it is available to members. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, honorable. She says you're a Gupta.